Hello, and a very warm welcome to tennis aficionados and dedicated sports fans tuning in from every corner of the planet. We are incredibly excited you've joined us today, as we are about to dive into a truly monumental development that is reshaping the landscape of women's professional tennis. Can you recall a specific moment in athletic competition that forced you to drop everything you were doing and just stare in utter amazement? A moment that glued you to the very edge of your seat, making you question whether the spectacle unfolding before you was even possible. We are diving into those exceptionally rare, once-in-a-generation events where a true underdog emerges. An athlete who has been grinding away in the shadows, pouring everything they have into their craft, with unwavering dedication. Then, seemingly out of nowhere, this competitor seizes the spotlight and proceeds to methodically dismantle the sport's established order. Today, our focus is a story that has sent profound shockwaves throughout the entire Women's Tennis Association. It is a developing story that has captured the world's attention, sparking conversations, intense debates, and widespread speculation. It is dominating social media feeds and inspiring in-depth analysis across the board. We are, of course, talking about the 20-year-old Filipino phenom, Alexandra Eala, who has just orchestrated two of the most jaw-dropping upsets you will ever see. Her victories were not just unexpected. They were displays of complete and utter dominance against two of the most elite and highly ranked players in the world today. She pulled off stunning wins over world number 4, Coco Gauff, and just before that, world number 6, Jasmine Paolini. And she accomplished these monumental feats with a remarkable blend of composure, raw power, and strategic genius that has left even the most seasoned commentators and sports veterans absolutely speechless. If you are as fired up about this story as we are, hit that like button right now, smash that subscribe button, and let's build this tennis community together. You do not want to miss what's coming next. Now, let's get into it. To fully grasp the sheer scale of what has unfolded during the opening weeks of the 2026 season, it is absolutely essential to understand the surrounding context. The WTA Tour is an unforgiving battleground, a relentless and grueling test of skill, endurance, and mental toughness. Merely cracking the top 30 is a Herculean effort, let alone defeating the perennial top 10 fixtures, which demands not only supreme physical conditioning, but also a spirit forged of pure iron. The uppermost echelon of women's tennis is a fortress, fiercely defended by multiple Grand Slam champions and battle-hardened professionals who possess an uncanny ability to pinpoint and exploit the smallest vulnerability in a less experienced opponent's game. When you find yourself on the opposite side of the net from a world number 4 or a world number 6, you are up against so much more than just their performance on that specific day. You are battling their legendary status and their wealth of experience from countless high-pressure matches and the formidable reputation that precedes them onto the court. Yet, Alexandra Eala, shouldering the immense weight of an entire nation's hopes, showed absolutely no signs of intimidation. She refused to yield a single inch. On the contrary, she confidently stepped up to the baseline and unleashed an absolute clinic in cutting-edge aggressive tennis, compelling the entire global sports community to stop, watch, and acknowledge her spectacular arrival. The story truly gains its incredible momentum when you consider the immediate and widespread global reaction to these sensational victories. Every major social media platform has been absolutely flooded with video highlights, expert breakdowns, and countless expressions of pure astonishment. Saying the world was left wondering is not an exaggeration here. It is a literal description of the collective amazement that reverberated from the packed stadiums in Dubai, across the sun-drenched courts of Indian Wells, and all the way back to the bustling streets of Manila. Countless fans who have been diligently tracking Eala's career since her promising days as a junior competitor, where she displayed such extraordinary potential, are now watching their beloved rising star transform into a bona fide champion killer right before their very eyes, in real time. However, the widespread excitement and exuberant celebration are not confined to just her passionate Filipino supporters. Seasoned tennis analysts, professional coaches, and even casual sports fans are all expressing profound admiration for the incredible and rapid evolution of her on-court abilities. What we are witnessing is a player who has successfully converted her immense, natural talent into a polished, versatile, and deadly skill set, perfectly capable of disarming the most powerful players on the circuit. Let's take a moment to revisit the first act of this astonishing saga. Her breathtaking triumph over the world's #6 player Jasmine Paolini at the Dubai Duty-Free Tennis Championships. Paolini, herself a past champion in Dubai and a consistent presence inside the top 10, is renowned for her incredible speed, her relentless court coverage, and her trademark ability to mentally and physically wear down her adversaries. For a 20-year-old talent who is still ascending the rankings to stride into that high-pressure arena, confront a former title holder, and completely overwhelm her in the opening set with a jaw-dropping 6-1 scoreline is an achievement that can only be described as truly phenomenal. Eala came out swinging, with a bold and fearless offensive strategy that seemed to completely destabilize the seasoned Italian player from the very first ball. And when Paolini, as expected of a great champion, mounted a fierce and determined comeback in the second set, fighting off multiple match points and pushing the contest into a nail-biting tiebreak, Eala responded with the poise and mental fortitude of a longtime tour veteran. She ultimately clinched the intense match 7-6. This was far more than just another win. It was a powerful declaration, her third career, top 10 victory, and it sent a clear message to the entire WTA locker room that Alexandra Eala was no longer just a future prospect. She had officially arrived as a significant and immediate threat to every single player on the tour. But if the global tennis community believed that the stunning upset of Paolini represented the absolute peak of Eala's early 2026 campaign, they were about to be proven spectacularly wrong. The entire scene then shifted from the Middle East all the way to the California desert, home of the highly regarded BNP Paribas Open at Indian Wells. This tournament is frequently heralded as the unofficial fifth Grand Slam, a venue where the desert air presents unique challenges. The courts have a distinct, gritty texture, and the atmosphere is perpetually thick with pressure. It was here that Eala would face an even more formidable opponent, the world #4, a two-time Grand Slam title holder, and the beloved American superstar, Coco Gauff. The backstory for this compelling matchup was already loaded with dramatic tension, primarily because only a few weeks earlier, Gauff had decisively beaten Eala during the tournament in Dubai. The overwhelming consensus was that history was about to repeat itself. The majority of commentators and tennis experts predicted that Gauff's superior physical power and her dominating baseline game would simply prove to be too much for the young Filipina star once again. However, the true beauty of sport is its inherent unpredictability. Outcomes are decided on the court, not on paper. As the two competitors made their way onto Stadium 1 at Indian Wells, it was clear the entire calculus of their rivalry had fundamentally changed. Eala, having absorbed the difficult yet crucial lessons from their last meeting, arrived on court with a completely re-engineered strategic approach, poised and ready to turn the tables. Her anticipation was flawless. She was reading Coco Gauff's serves with near-perfect accuracy. She masterfully constructed punishing cross-court exchanges, then brilliantly punctuated them with cleverly disguised drop shots that consistently kept the exceptionally swift American off balance. After initially falling behind, Eala mounted a fierce comeback, repeatedly breaking Gauff's serve to seize the first set, with an authoritative 6-2 victory, leading 2-0 in the second set. She was comprehensively controlling the entire rhythm of the contest when the most unexpected and unfortunate event occurred. Coco Gauff, who was clearly in discomfort and had previously required a medical timeout, had to make the difficult decision to retire from the match due to a significant injury to her left arm. Now, at this point, it is crucial that we approach the situation with both compassion and honesty. Securing a win because an opponent retires mid-match is certainly not the triumphant conclusion any true competitor desires. This outcome is undeniably tinged with a sense of disappointment, as the well-being and physical health of every competitor must always remain the absolute highest priority. Gauff later described the sensation in her arm as an explosive burst of pain, like a firework detonating inside her arm. It was a truly frightening experience that understandably led her to make the sensible choice of prioritizing her long-term career over the outcome of one single contest. Nevertheless, it is absolutely essential to be completely clear-eyed and honest about the narrative that was unfolding on the court prior to that regrettable withdrawal. The undeniable fact of the matter is, Alexandra Eala was thoroughly outclassing the world's #4 ranked player. She was demonstrating total and complete dominance. Both the WTA and the tournament organizers officially noted that Eala had seized control of the match from the instant the first ball was struck. She was doing far more than simply holding her ground. She was meticulously implementing a masterful, aggressive strategy that was systematically dismantling the game of one of the most formidable offensive players in the sport's entire history. This brings us to the very heart of why this development is so incredibly significant. It transcends being merely a stat in the win column. It is about the exceptional and mature manner in which Eala carried herself, both during the intense competition and in the critical moments that followed. Following the match's sudden conclusion, on a day that also happened to be International Women's Day, Eala refrained from any extravagant or wild celebration. On the contrary, she exhibited an extraordinary degree of class, profound sportsmanship, and genuine compassion for her opponent. During her on-court interview, she took the microphone and delivered a beautiful and heartfelt tribute to the pioneering women who blazed trails in the world of athletics. She specifically mentioned Coco Gauff by name, calling her a phenomenal competitor and a genuine inspiration, before extending warm wishes for a rapid and full recovery to her friend and one-time doubles partner. She thoughtfully acknowledged the challenging circumstances of the victory, while simultaneously appreciating the monumental achievement it represented for both herself and her home country. This remarkable level of maturity, this incredible fusion of fierce competitive spirit and profound human empathy, is precisely what is cementing Alexandra Eala's place as one of the most admired and beloved personalities on the entire WTA circuit. So, what is the larger takeaway from all of this? It signals a dramatic and undeniable shift occurring in the landscape of professional women's tennis. It tells us that the gap separating the entrenched top players from the ambitious and hungry next wave of talent is narrowing far more quickly than anyone could have possibly predicted. It firmly establishes the Philippines as a legitimate world-class force, producing contenders who can confidently go head-to-head with the sport's titans on the grandest global platforms. We are currently watching the remarkable evolution of an athlete who possesses the technical firepower to overpower opponents from anywhere on the court, the strategic acumen to intelligently adjust her approach for different playing styles, and the emotional fortitude to manage the enormous pressures that come with the international spotlight. These impressive victories over Jasmine Paolini and Coco Gauff should not be viewed as isolated incidents or mere flukes. They are powerful announcements to the entire tennis world. They are clear declarations that Alexandra Eala has officially arrived, and she is fully prepared to disrupt the established order. In our forthcoming in-depth analysis, we will meticulously break down every single element of this phenomenal story. We plan to scrutinize the precise tactical shifts Eala employed to effectively neutralize Paolini's formidable heavy topspin game. We will examine the detailed mechanics that allowed her to completely reverse her fortunes against Coco Gauff, transforming a prior straight sets defeat into a commanding showcase of all-around tennis excellence. We will also dive into the psychological challenges of performing before massive expectant crowds, the deep significance of her rapid rise through the rankings, and what lies ahead as she advances further in the Indian Wells draw to face opponents like Linda Noskova. Our comprehensive analysis will cover all the relevant statistics, the key quotes, and the wider cultural resonance of her success. Go ahead, grab a beverage, find a comfortable spot, and settle in, because we are about to explore one of the most compelling, truly inspiring, and tactically intricate stories currently unfolding in all of professional sports. This is the definitive analysis of how Alexandra Eala stunned the global tennis community, upended the very best in the game, and definitively carved her name into the highest tiers of tennis history. Now, let's move directly into our detailed breakdown. Welcome to the in-depth analysis. To truly grasp the immense scale of Alexandra Eala's recent triumphs over both Jasmine Paolini and Coco Gauff, it is simply not enough to just glance at the final scoreboards. Instead, we must deconstruct these contests piece by piece, examine the strategic developments in her game, and appreciate the mental toughness required to execute these plans. On the world's most prominent stages, we intend to provide a thoroughly comprehensive breakdown, scrutinizing the precise mechanics, the overall context of the 2026 WTA Tour, and the extraordinary growth that Eala has demonstrated. First, let us examine the Dubai Masterclass, a systematic dismantling of Jasmine Paolini. Our story begins in the Middle East at the Dubai Duty-Free Tennis Championships in February of 2026. Jasmine Paolini entered this particular matchup ranked as the world's number 6 player. For any player who closely follows the professional tour, facing Paolini is a genuine ordeal. While she may not have the height advantage of some peers, her exceptional footwork is widely considered to be among the most elite in the entire sport. The Italian dynamo generates an astonishing amount of racket head speed, enabling her to strike the ball with heavy penetrating force. She is renowned for her punishing topspin and possesses a well-earned reputation for dragging opponents into grueling physical battles that test the very limits of their endurance. Furthermore, as a past champion in Dubai, she was competing in atmospheric conditions that perfectly suit her aggressive style of play. On a court where she felt supremely confident, the stage was set for this round of 32 encounter, presenting a classic storyline: youthful exuberance against seasoned experience. The central question was whether the 20-year-old Eala could consistently breach Paolini's world-class defense. The answer arrived swiftly and decisively, in a blistering 24-minute first set, and it was an unequivocal yes. Eala's approach was one of tactical aggression. She emerged from the opening moments with a remarkable degree of controlled power that seemed to completely destabilize the veteran Italian player. Eala's forehand, which has long been recognized as a formidable weapon in her arsenal, was operating at its absolute peak. This, however, was far more than just an exhibition of raw power. The true brilliance was in her strategic placement. She masterfully created sharp angles, forcing Paolini far beyond the court's boundaries, and systematically preventing the world number 6 from finding any rhythm or controlling the rallies. The first set blitz was a monumental statement. Securing a 6-1 victory against a player ranked inside the top 10 is an exceptionally rare achievement on the tour. Throughout that opening frame, Eala struck a multitude of clean winners off both wings and demonstrated incredible efficiency and command on her own serve. She won over 70% of her first serve points, a statistic that completely shattered Paolini's timing and confidence. In the second set, the theme shifted to resilience. This is the chapter of the match where Eala's championship medal was seriously tested. One does not ascend to world number 6 without immense fighting spirit, and Paolini began to push back with intense ferocity. In a pivotal moment, Eala found herself with a break of serve and the opportunity to close out the match at 5-4. This is precisely the scenario where many younger players falter. The pressure mounts, the arm tightens, the footwork loses its fluidity, and the experienced adversary senses blood in the water. Paolini heroically saved 3 separate match points in that critical game, ultimately earning a break of her own before surging ahead to a 6-5 lead. The tiebreak brought an electric atmosphere inside the stadium, and the tension was almost tangible. Having lost her earlier advantage, Eala was forced into a tiebreak requiring a significant mental reset. And it is at this juncture that the profound cultural context of the event became so incredibly significant. Dubai is home to a very large and passionate Filipino expatriate community, which turned out in tremendous force to support their hero. As Eala later mentioned in her post-match press conference, during the tense changeovers, she would gaze into the stands, see the supportive faces of her fellow countrymen, and feel the energy of the countless prayers being sent her way. She brilliantly transformed that immense pressure, not allowing it to become a burden that would crush her spirit, but instead harnessing it as powerful fuel to propel her forward. She rallied magnificently, striking an absolutely spectacular forehand winner right on the line to convert her 5th match point, sealing the monumental 6-1 7-6 victory. This remarkable win marked Eala's 3rd career victory over a top 10 opponent, elevating her head-to-head record against this elite group to an impressive 3 wins and 2 losses. What makes this accomplishment even more astonishing is the fact that all 3 of her top 10 wins against Madison Keys, Iga Swiatek, and now Paolini have all been achieved in straight sets. This statistic powerfully demonstrates that when Eala's game is fully locked in and firing, her peak level of performance is virtually untouchable, even for the most formidable players in the world. If the victory over Paolini was a declaration of her arrival on the big stage, then her subsequent performance against Coco Gauff at Indian Wells was nothing short of a masterclass in strategic adaptation and tactical brilliance. Understanding the background of this particular matchup is absolutely essential to fully appreciating the outcome. Only a few weeks earlier at that same Dubai tournament, Gauff had completely overpowered Eala, inflicting a painful 6-0, 6-2 defeat upon her. Gauff, the established world number 4, is a true athletic phenomenon whose legendary court coverage is second to none. Her backhand is considered one of the most devastating shots in the women's game, and when her serve is clicking, it is nearly impossible to return effectively. So, when the Indian Wells draw revealed a third-round showdown between Eala and Gauff, the overwhelming consensus in the tennis community was that Gauff would once again impose her will and dominate the match. However, Eala and her dedicated coaching staff had clearly analyzed the previous loss meticulously and formulated an ingenious counter-strategy centered on exploiting Gauff's serve. Throughout 2026, Coco Gauff, for all her brilliance, has been noticeably plagued by a high number of double faults, a statistic in which she unfortunately leads the entire WTA Tour. Eala understood that she absolutely had to exert maximum pressure on Gauff's vulnerable second serve to have any chance in this match. From the very first game, Eala was aggressively stepping well inside the baseline on her returns, intercepting the ball early to rob the American of precious reaction time. This relentless pressure had a direct and visible effect, as Gauff committed a staggering 7 double faults in the first set alone, a clear result of the tactical and psychological stress Eala was applying, while also masterfully varying the pace. In their Dubai encounter, Gauff had thrived on the consistent heavy-hitting rhythm that Eala provided. At Indian Wells, however, Eala fundamentally altered the geometry of their rallies. She cleverly incorporated an array of exquisite drop shots, pulling Gauff uncomfortably toward the net, before executing perfectly placed passing shots or deep looping lobs. With this varied approach, Eala completely dismantled Gauff's preferred baseline rhythm, leaving her looking unsettled and searching for answers. She staged a remarkable comeback from a 0-40 deficit in the pivotal 6th game to break Gauff's serve, seizing a commanding 4-2 lead, and ultimately closing out the first set 6-2. This led directly into Eala's continued dominance in the second set. Early in the second set, after 7x7, AT, with Eala leading 2-0 and having just broken Gauff's serve again. With another breathtaking forehand winner, the contest changed. The match reached a sudden and unfortunate conclusion when Gauff, who was suffering from a severe nerve-related issue in her left arm, had to retire. She described the intense pain as feeling like a firework exploding inside her arm. She walked to the net and conceded the match. A candid assessment is necessary here. We must be grounded in the reality of the situation. The match did conclude prematurely because of an injury. Nevertheless, it is equally crucial to fully acknowledge that up until the moment the injury forced the stoppage, Alexandra Eala was delivering what was arguably the most spectacular and dominant tennis of her entire career. She was methodically dismantling the world's number 4 player, even Gauff herself, in a gesture of extraordinary class. Explained during her press conference that she felt awful about having to retire, as she did not want to take anything away from the fact that the Filipino phenom was playing absolutely spectacular tennis. The developments following the Indian Wells contest showcased something that extends well beyond powerful forehands and strategic backhands. The fundamental character of Alexandra Eala was on full display as she stood on Stadium 1, one of the most formidable arenas in the entire sport. Having just advanced to the round of 16 during her tournament debut, through a deeply regrettable situation, in that moment, Eala demonstrated an absolutely incredible sense of composure. Because this pivotal match fell on International Women's Day, Eala used her platform not to celebrate her lead, but rather to convey a profound sense of gratitude. She extended her thanks to the amazing women who had forged the path for her entire generation. More importantly, she spoke directly to Coco Gauff. She commended Gauff for being a truly phenomenal competitor and an outstanding role model for so many, and sincerely wished her a very speedy recovery. She fully understood that securing a win because of a retirement is a difficult outcome for everyone involved. It is a way nobody ever wants to win, and it is certainly a way that nobody ever wants to lose. This degree of emotional intelligence is exceedingly rare in a 20-year-old athlete, who is constantly under the demanding glare of the international media. This powerful gesture resonated deeply with fans all across the globe. It demonstrated that Eala is not only a ferocious competitor on the court, but also a deeply compassionate human being, who respects her peers and fully appreciates the wider importance of her influential platform. Now, Let us synthesize all of this compelling information. Alexandra Eala is currently charting completely new territory. She holds the distinction of being the first player from the Philippines ever to compete in the main draw at Indian Wells, and now the first to advance to the round of 16. She is ascending the live rankings at a breathtaking pace, firmly establishing herself as a contender inside the top 30. Her entire game has been transformed. We are now witnessing a much more versatile serve, a truly destructive forehand that has the capability to end points from absolutely anywhere on the court, and a vastly improved transition game as she moves from the baseline toward the net. However, what is most crucial is that we are witnessing the mental makeup of a true champion. She has the ability to absorb a significant loss, as she experienced against Gauff in Dubai, process the lessons from it, and make the necessary adaptations, only to come back just weeks later and completely dominate that very same opponent. And that brings me to you, our incredible community. Drop your answer in the comments right now. Do you believe Alexandra Eala has what it takes to win a Grand Slam title in 2026? Is she the real deal, or does she still have something to prove? We read every single comment, so let's hear it. She can manage the incredible pressure generated by a passionately one-sided crowd, as she proved against Paolini, and successfully win tight, nerve-wracking matches against highly experienced veterans. As she prepares for her upcoming match against the formidable Czech player Linda Noskova, the entire tennis world will be watching with intense anticipation. Alexandra Eala is no longer just an underdog looking for a fortunate opportunity. She is a confirmed giant slayer, a brilliant tactical player, and a competitor who genuinely has the talent and the necessary mindset to compete for the most prestigious titles in the sport. Previously, the entire world was left wondering how she was doing this. Now, the entire world knows exactly who Alexandra Eala is. As we bring this thorough and extensive analysis to a close, it is essential that we take a moment to look toward the future. The 2026 WTA season is shaping up to be one of the most thrilling, fluid, and unpredictable years the sport has seen in a very long time. And positioned squarely at the center of this exciting whirlwind is a 20-year-old from the Philippines, who categorically refuses to be intimidated by the ranking numbers next to her opponent's names. We have meticulously broken down the tactical adjustments she has made. We have carefully analyzed the incredible statistics, and we have explored the profound emotional significance attached to these recent victories. Defeating Jasmine Paolini in a grueling high-pressure match in Dubai was a testament to her physical stamina and her remarkable ability to win decisive sets against tirelessly defensive players. Her commanding performance against Coco Gauff at Indian Wells, where she executed a perfect strategic adjustment to avenge an earlier defeat, showcased her high-level tennis intelligence and her ability to learn and grow at an accelerated pace. While the conclusion of the match against Gauff was unfortunate due to the American's arm injury, the undeniable truth is that Eala was delivering a masterclass on Stadium 1, consistently forcing her opponent into errors, controlling the flow of the match, and proving to everyone watching that she belongs among the absolute best in the sport. But what truly sets Alexandra Eala apart is not merely the power of her ground strokes. It is the exceptional grace with which she presents herself, both on and off the court. To stand before an audience of thousands on International Women's Day, immediately after a monumental though complicated victory, and to use your spotlight moment to uplift your injured rival, and express gratitude to the mothers and women who created these opportunities, that is truly, deeply special. That is the unmistakable mark of a true global ambassador for tennis. It represents a level of class and deep empathy that simply cannot be coached or taught. The road ahead for her will not be simple. As you ascend the rankings, a feat Eala is accomplishing at a remarkable rate. The target on your back only grows larger. Other players will begin studying her match footage with far greater intensity. Their coaches will design highly specific game plans to neutralize her forehand and challenge her court coverage. Her forthcoming match in the round of 16 against the seasoned and powerful Linda Noskova will represent yet another massive test of her mental and physical fortitude. But if the events of the past several weeks have shown us anything definitive, it is that Alexandra Eala thrives when the pressure is at its absolute peak. She comes alive when the lights shine the brightest. We are all privileged to be witnessing the flowering of a career that holds the genuine potential to completely redefine the sport of tennis in Southeast Asia. and to inspire a whole new generation of aspiring athletes. The days of Alexandra Eala flying under the radar are definitively over. The element of surprise has completely vanished. Every single one of the top 10 players in the world now understands that seeing Alexandra Eala's name next to theirs in a draw signals an upcoming marathon, a contest that will be exhausting, strategically complex, and an extraordinarily demanding ordeal. Now, I want to turn the focus to you, our dedicated audience, because your perspectives are the lifeblood of what makes this community so vibrant and engaging. We have meticulously dissected her on-court tactics and her psychological approach, but I'm genuinely curious about your honest assessment. What is the absolute ceiling for Alexandra Eala's achievements this season? Is it truly within the realm of possibility that we are watching the emergence of a player who could reach the semifinals of a Grand Slam before this year? Concludes, I'm especially interested in how you believe her style and strategy will hold up when she faces the raw power of the tour's biggest hitters, like the formidable Sabalenka or the commanding Rybakina. Would you find it more valuable for me to provide an in-depth strategic analysis of Eala's game plan for her next match against the talented Linda Noskova? Or would you prefer a deeper look into the legacy and past performances of Asian athletes at the prestigious Indian Wells tournament? Share your thoughts in the comments below. If you found this breakdown valuable, please give this video a big thumbs up. It truly helps more tennis fans discover this content. And if you haven't subscribed yet, what are you waiting for? Hit that subscribe button and ring that notification bell so you never miss our latest deep dives into the biggest stories in sport. We'll see you in the next one. I want to extend my sincere gratitude for spending your time with us today. Until next time, take care and keep watching great tennis.